Right, hello, and welcome to Total War Warhammer 2. Warhammer 2 Total War. Part 11 of our Kislev campaign. Or it will be in a moment when I start it up. Right, let's just make sure that I load the right campaign, because... Yep. You can see I have another campaign, which I was playing before I started Kislev 1 for Clan Scryer. I haven't actually done too much with it. I've just been pottering around with it. And it all seems to be loading fine, which is good. I had been testing some new mods. Pardon me. I had been testing some new mods, which I had brought to my attention, which looked interesting. One of them was Lost Factions, which is done by I forget who. I apologize. But yes, that mod in particular was quite interesting because it adds a bunch of new factions to the game. Not fully, it's still a beta. But if I do another campaign, I would like to play with that one. I will have to wait until it gets an update, however, because it conflicts with the Barrow Legion mod done by Mandy Kataf, I believe, which is unfortunate. I could just play without Barrow Legion mod. It doesn't really affect too much, it's only one faction. It would be nice to have them going together. Otherwise, the mod works perfectly fine with the Lost Factions mod. Works perfectly fine with basically all the other mods I have. I think there's maybe a few other conflicts. In the list, I saw conflicts for the Kislev mod, expanded factions Kislev, expanded factions Greenskins, Orcs and Goblins, as well as the Empire Hero, what's it called? The Empire Engineer, or whatever it's called, the guy with the various rifles. But yes, the Lost Faction mod, it adds, as I said, a bunch of other factions to the game. It adds Araby, for one, which is very nice, with, I believe, the choice between 3 or at least 2 legendary lords. One is the Sorcerer Jafar, very imaginative name. As we get into these minor factions for Warhammer, we'll see that the creativeness for a lot of their names for the faction characters and their lore is not particularly the most imaginative. There's also there was a sorcerer or something like that, a sorcerer legendary lord for Araby, who starts on a ship. Or does he start in Lustria? I think he starts in Lustria. I think his faction's called the Flaming Scimitar or something like that. But yes, Araby is made up of light infantry, elephants, Jinn or Ifrits, fire Jinn, as well as some mages, and a lot of light cavalry with bows. So, they also have cataphracts, which is neat. I haven't actually played to see what they're like, but I was looking at the army lists. Another faction added by the mod is the Halflings. You have the moot occupied by Halflings. You can play as them, which is... oh, wonders. You can have armies of Halfling militias backed up by very skilled cooks, which give bonuses to your troops around them. As well as ogres, as units which you can recruit. And I do like what the mod author had done with the ogres, because previously I think there's the expanded factions Chaos Dwarves mod, which I also was having a look at. And I think that mod adds ogres as well, but it creates ogres by making larger dwarves, I believe. Whereas in the Lost Factions mod, ogres are created by I believe, making larger orcs and changing their skin color to a flesh tone rather than being green. And I think it works quite well. It makes them look more like the older ogre models from the tabletop, which did look just like larger greenskins, or larger orcs, as opposed to the sort of rotund, flabby lumps which they ended up becoming in later editions, which I do like that look of, the ogres with the big gut plate. But the older ogre models are more hunched over and they have large tusks. So, what else was there? There was Araby, there was halflings, there was, I think it fleshes out some of the Crusader factions for Bretonnia, possibly. Drawing a blank on it. It also adds some factions in Albion, a mixture of Norscan units as well as some newer minor units to represent the native Albion inhabitants. It adds, I think one of the things is a unit called like Boglings, which are like snotlings apparently, and it's sort of the tooltip for them sort of says, you know, oh, you've got an agreement to fight with the Boglings for whatever purpose they're going to serve in battle because they're so useless. So that could make things a bit more interesting, and Albion having a unique faction there. Gut plate from a race that more or less worships digestion. Yes, the ogre kingdoms are very focused on eating. Oh, that also reminds me, the Lost Factions mod also adds a faction you can play as, consisting entirely of trolls, and they are focused on eating primarily as well. A lot of their bonuses they get against other races are more or less just like, you know, we're going to go with your classic being humans, or we're going to go for haute couture with High Elves, or we're going to go for crustaceans with dwarves. It was very funny. As well as the idea of having just an army of nothing but trolls, which would be no ranged, it's just all trolls. Different types of trolls. You have river trolls, forest trolls, stone trolls, and so on and so forth. Anyway, yes, I had left off before I had ended the turn because we have this bit of a dilemma here. I had taken over Albion. Everything had been peaceful, as much as it can be for Kislev. And I'd also started pushing into Norsca up here to deal with the Norscan threat, potentially once and for all. Because our dwarf ally isn't doing anything. So I'd actually had a big battle here between Wulfric Throg and the garrison here for the Bay of Blades. And I'd won that at great expense, but thanks to some skills which my lords have, I can recruit replacement units in one turn from global recruitment, so we'll get back up to strength pretty quickly there. So it'll be expensive. Recruiting for global recruitment, I believe, costs twice as much. Maybe not exactly twice as much. It might be a bit less, but it's a fair bit more than normal. So, but also, I had taken over Albion, which had been easy. There had been no armies here, so I just rampaged through and took it. And then I was sitting here, and the event for Mixu's Legendary Lords, or Mixu's Unlocker Legendary Lords is the mod which adds it, occurred, which has Egrimm van Horstmann appear with his armies of the Cabal. I think there's 2 other armies currently rampaging through the Empire that raised Arnau here and Gorsel. I don't know what they're doing now, but Egrimm sort of spawned and made a beeline straight for me, so I've got to deal with him now. He has an army of not too many chosen, mostly Chaos Warriors, which are heavily armored and kind of scary, considering most of my units are just like Empire Swordsmen and Spears, with better morale. He has some Aspiring Champions, a Gorby's Chariot, Chaos Knight, 1 unit, thankfully, were all the horsemen, 2 hell cannons, and a chaos giant. As well as Egrimm van Horstmann himself, who we can see is mounted on a chaos dragon. And he's a master of light magic. His dragon has fire breath, and he's got various other items which give him bonuses. He can summon a unit of chaos spawn. He has good damage resistant, constant on self. And he has a bound spell, Barona's Time Warp, which means his units attack faster and better in melee. We can see the spell up here, I think. Maybe? Yes, there it is. Plus 26 melee attack and plus 24% speed. So that's fun. He is only a mage though, so he's not really made for combat. I say that, though he is mounted on a chaos dragon.
You need me?
Tsarina Katerin Boka's army is not really made to deal with chaos warriors. It's, as I said, it's primarily basic infantry. Gospodar spearmen, which are just like Empire spearmen. We have some swordsmen, we have 1 unit of halberdiers, 1 unit of Kreml guard, which are our great swords. Gospodar axemen, which are Empire swordsmen, and despite their name, they're not actually... Are they 7 armor piercing? 7 armor piercing. So they're actually... It's like... They're armed with axes in the game, but... They're not getting any armor piercing bonus, unlike the Kossars here, which do actually get an armor piercing damage because they're armed with axes. I don't know, maybe because they're wielding the axes in one hand, they don't get armor piercing. Hell cannons. My brother always fielded 1 tabletop. I always went for it, never ever took it out, though it went berserk a lot. I wish they went berserk in this. Hell cannons are a mixture of machine and demon by the Chaos Dwarves. And they're sentient cannons. Essentially, I believe the Chaos Dwarves shovel corpses into the back of it. And the accumulated corpse and soul matter forms the shot for the Hell Cannon. And then the Hell Cannon is provoked by the Chaos Dwarves to spit the resulting ball of flame and corrosive whatever chaos stuff at the enemy. In Warhammer Total War, they fire large damaging bolts with a large explosion, and they're slightly homing, so you can actually like hit targets pretty unerringly with them if you're good with them. Though they only come in units of 1. They are unbreakable, and to represent the fact that on the tabletop they berserk, they have 2 abilities. One is Blood, where the Hell Cannon breaks its chains and rushes forward, increased movement speed. Okay. It's got higher speed, it's got better vigor and acceleration, but you don't really want to move it anyway, because it's artillery. It's not the same as it like charging forward and chomping on an enemy unit like they did in the tabletop. And it's got Boom. The Hell Cannon's blasts are devastating, which increases its armor piercing explosion and its explosion damage for 15 seconds. They don't actually rampage. If the cannon is destroyed, the crew, the Chaos Dwarves manning it, will just charge at you. They are unbreakable, which is quite annoying, because that means they can fire for the entire battle, and even, like, after the rest of the army's fled, you still have to deal with the cannon. They have 25 ammunition. Thankfully, though, I do have an answer to them in the Ungol Horse Archers. And I do have my own cannon, the Ice Shatterer, as I named it, because it was very instrumental in dealing with ice trolls. Which is a Karaza Karak cannon. Which will hopefully be quite useful in dealing with, I don't know, the Giant? The Aspiring Champions, perhaps? But yes, I'm hoping he will actually attack Conquata here, so that I can get the extra troops from the garrison, particularly the handgunners and the great swords and halberdiers. So we're sitting there, hopefully he'll attack me in there. If not, he might go and raise some of the other settlements. Which will be annoying, but maybe he'll come back and attack me. So that army gives me a bit of panic looking at it.
Lady of the Glade.
we
at
should
your
be able
service.
to deal with it if I surround them. Also, I can't forget that Tsarina Katerin Borka here is a very powerful mage. She is an ice mage with basically the entire arsenal of ice spells. Glacial Barrier, Shield of Cold, Midwinter's Kiss, Wind of Ice, Shard Storm, and Invocation of the Ice Storm. Also has an item, Scroll of Black Horror, which summons Anzipol's Black Horror, which is a very nice, heavy damaging bound spell, which will be very useful against massed Chaos units. She also has her own weapon, Fear Frost. Also the Helm of Discord, which will be useful. She's not on a mount though, I haven't put her on a mount yet. But anyway, I suppose we'll just end the turn there. I do like that Creative Assembly, when they added the Hell Cannons, went to the effort of making the Chaos Dwarf crew to man it. They could have just had it manned by Warriors of Chaos, but I mean, they're just dwarves with a fancy beard. A mask, but it's nice that they did that little bit of extra effort. It seems like all the mods which I was messing around with have deactivated themselves. I have a specific list which I saved for this campaign in case I decide to do so that it will go back to the default and my saves won't be messed up. If I activate a mod which, you know, adds factions. Well, it's coming up to the Cabal. And I forget to deactivate them. So the game would probably just crash if that was the case. Oh, there you go. There's actually 2 heroes with him there, but they're not part of his army, so thankfully I don't have to worry about them. Actually saying our odds aren't too bad. At least 50-50. And we get our garrison, so that's nice. The cannon either killed all of its crew, or I killed the crew and the cannon went rampaging in the tabletop game. Yeah. I think there was a misfire for the cannon where it could eat its own crew and then charge off. Warhammer Total War really does not do justice, do I want to say that? It doesn't portray just how unreliable things like artillery or even some ranged weapons were in the tabletop. For pretty much every faction, including the dwarves, from what I remember. Skaven especially. If you had a cannon, every turn you'd have to, like, you'd roll to see whether it hits, and if you rolled a misfire, then you'd have to roll a d6 to see what the effect was, and it could be absolutely nothing. It could be, oh, the powder's wet and has to spend a turn clearing it out to get it to fire next turn. And in the tabletop, there's only 6 turns for a match. Or the cannon could completely blow up, killing the crew. The Skaven ones were particularly fun. That's why I played the Skaven. Because things like Warp Lightning Cannons would have misfires where they, oh, what was it? They just exploded, killing the crew. It just failed to fire, or they did something like they got picked up by eldritch powers, spun around in the air, chose a random direction determined by a dice roll, and just fired a shot in that direction at like a random strength. Because the Warp Lightning Cannon was extremely variable in how much damage it dealt. It could deal like a 2 strength shot, which is barely tickling something, or a strength 10 shot, which is like even more than a giant or a dragon. And it used to be able to fire through terrain, so even if you're behind a hill, you could shoot through the hill to hit units with misfires. So I remember one match I played, and I had my warp fire thrower, and I shot it. I think it was High Elves, and the warp fire thrower caught fire. The crew panicked, ran off, hit one of my clan rat squads, exploded, dealing damage to the clan rats. The clan rats then fled and caused a bunch of the rest of my army to flee. So funny. The Ratman gun could do something like that as well, where they just like trip over and fire all their shots into a unit nearby. Anyway, I do kind of wish that was in the game. I don't mind that stuff though. Some people really don't like having control taken away from them for units, or the units dying for things which they don't have any control over, which is understandable. But especially for Skaven, it meant taking things was often a complete gamble whether it did anything useful or whether it just died on the first turn. Even a screaming screaming bell could misfire. Every time you rung it, it would have a chance to just collapse into a pile of kindling. Or I think damage units around it in a deafening peal. Or the Rat Ogre got too enthusiastic and ripped the chain off the bell and tore it to pieces or something like that.
Swordsman! For Heldenhammer!
Okay, swordsman there.
Great sword!
Great swords here. Adds a fun story to the battle. Yeah, exactly. I remember the battle because of how bad it went at that particular time. I can't remember who won that battle. I remember most of my army fled, except for my Warlock Engineer, and the opponent's High Elf commander decided to duel my Engineer, who was hiding in a forest, and he detached from his squad and advanced to my Engineer. And my Engineer cast Warp Lightning at him and reduced the High Elf general to a smouldering pile of bones before running off. So it was a very Skaven-y approach to the battle. I approved greatly.
Cavalry ready!
Okay, that is, I think.
For the Emperor!
There was another one I remember where I went up against Wood Elves, and the poor Wood Elf player. My Plague Monks hit his Dryads and just tore through the entire unit. It was quite terrible for him. I was like, oh wow, they've actually done something, because Skaven units are like, oh, they killed something, okay, they've paid themselves back. Well, people look at the match against me, the High Elves and Skaven, and the High Elves have a grand total of 4 units on the map, on the battlefield, being what, a unit of spears, a unit of like 10 Lawmasters of Hoeth, which are great swords. I think a chariot unit and something else, and I have like
General! Moving now! At speed!
oh geez, they're fleeing. Okay, and I have like 8 units on the battlefield or something like that, or like 8 units of 20. And the battle progresses, and the High Elf is left with, it takes like a few casualties. And I have this massive pile of dead, and someone's like, who's winning? And I'm like, I am, even though I have like 80 casualties to the opponent's like 15 casualties perhaps. I would have liked some strops. That would help things greatly. Okay, well, this is going to be scary. Anzabel's Black Horror. Go!
Awaiting orders! Swordsman! For Heldenhammer!
Blah 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 blah. Shoot that giant.
Yes, sir!
Are you shooting that dragon still? Oh, there he is over there.
Ready for war!
He's attacking my cavalry. I think we've dealt with the hell cannons.
Take the
So
ground!
we can all flee off them.
Go! Moving now! Swordsman! Handgunner!
Shoot those chariots, actually.
At the ready!
You can see a buff going off every time I cast spells. It is a gift of the winter wind. They get all my units when I'm casting spells get 11% physical resistance, which is quite nice.
Swordsman!
My guys get tougher when I cast
Finding
spells.
range, sir!
Gorby's chariot, shoot it!
Fire!
It's fleeing, but I don't want it. Did we deal with that dragon? Giant? We did. Well done.
Conditions acceptable! Finding range, sir! In your sights! Pick them off! Send us out! Formation march! Keeping distance, sir!
Dracena.
Taking position! Find your targets! Handgunners! Soldiers of the
I mean,
Empire!
thankfully, Egrimm van Horstmann is being preoccupied with my cavalry,
My
so he's
Galvanites!
not being
The Heldenhammer!
too much of a problem. I need to deal with some of these massive blobs.
General! Yes, sir, quickly!
Though, thankfully, they are not unbreakable. Anzapel's Black Horror is just a single cast. So. Okay, here he comes.
For war!
I don't think he's unbreakable either.
Spot us the target!
Shoot that dragon. Pow! I think we missed. I can't tell. How do you miss something that big? Just like that. Take that Chaos Dragon and Von Horstmann down. Well done.
Ready!
Your leader's dead. What are you going to do now?
Awaiting orders! Ready to serve!
Haha! They're fleeing? They are! Victory!
Sir!
Well, my cavalry got badly injured in that. But,
Understood!
okay. Try and deal with those Chaos Knights.
Protect us! Yes!
Actually, you shoot those Chaos Knights. You charge the infantry.
By Ulrich's wrath!
Well, we took a fair few casualties. We did not flee though. Just nice.
Handgunners!
Shoot the aspiring champions. I didn't even actually get to see their units. I didn't show them off. No, we get Chaos Warriors. These guys with the big shields and the ones with the big axes. Aspiring champions. There's some chosen there with their demon-looking halberds. The aspiring champions are the ones with the glowy swords. I don't think those are actually a tabletop unit. They're like a unit of heroes.
Orders? Yes, General!
But, yep. I do like playing as Chaos. They're quite fun. You just have really tough infantry.
Sigma calls! We are Sigma's heirs!
Kreml Guard got 64 kills. Well done. No power weapons in fantasy. You've got demonic weapons. Demon swords. Things like Golmaraz.
Sir! For friends!
The power weapons are pretty cool. And lightning claws from Warhammer 40,000. So I do like about fantasy how, you know, we're going up against these empowered by dark gods guys with like demon infused armor and swords. And who's fighting against them? Oh, you know, these guys here who are just armed with like an iron breastplate with a spear and a wooden shield. I think it makes them seem significantly, really quite badass. Because they're having to deal with demons with, like, a sword. I want to deal as many casualties as I can to this army because it will flee. And if I deal more casualties now, there'll be less after the battle ends. I will probably execute the captives, unless it gives me like 4,000 gold. Even then, I'll probably just execute them because I don't want them to return. Oh, I want them weakened so that I can chase the army down.
We await your orders.
Come on. Those are chosen, actually. Deal with the chosen more than the great weapons. Chosen are basically souped up Chaos Warriors. They just have better stats overall. Do they have immune from psychology? Nope. Nope. They've just got better stats. I'm kind of surprised at that. I think that's something people have suggested for them for a while. I don't know whether they had immune to psychology or similar on the tabletop. I think they're more just an upgrade for Chaos Warriors. They were just like, oh, this unit of Chaos Warriors is now chosen. I actually have some Chaos Warrior models over there. I had started painting them in Zinch colours, but I have one here which I actually painted in Nurgle colours, and it's a very nice sort of sickly green colour for his armour. He's wielding a Warhammer. I kind of like the way weapons and armour worked in Fantasy more than 40k. I never really played too much of 40k. It was the game which I played first. I have a Necron army back from 3rd edition, which I liked. That was before they got any personality, so it was just tactics were move forward and shoot, and then roll for coming back. Roll for we'll be back. Necrons are sort of soulless robots, undead robots, and they're like the is it T-1000 from Terminator? You kill them and they lie down and then they get back up again later on. They keep coming, and they're as tough as Space Marines. Watching the opponent spend a turn taking down like 5 of them in a round of shooting, and then watch their faces. 4 of them get back up again. It's just yeah, T-1000 plus Egypt. The Egypt theme was emphasized more in the later update. They're now, yeah, more like Egyptian themed robots from pyramids and all that. I do kind of like the personality they gave to them. Anyway, I won't get into all that. On tabletop though, for Warhammer Fantasy, I was always a Skaven player. I just liked them so much, and their randomness. I didn't win many games, but I had fun doing it. I liked when my units just fled everywhere. Just, I don't know. The bemused look on the opponent's face as my units end up killing more of themselves than the enemies was... Well, it was very funny to me. As well as just casting warp lightning all over the place. that battle actually didn't go too badly. We took a fair number of casualties, but we weathered their assault pretty well. I suppose the magic had a significant help in that. I was afraid that dragon was going to start tearing through my units, but thankfully Egrimm was easily distracted and decided to chase down my cavalry. Don't know why. I would have thought he'd gone straight for Katerin. He could have pretty easily dealt with her. Maybe. She was surrounded by spears and halberdiers. Who got the most kills on the enemy army? Well, Egrimm van Horstmann. He got 72 kills. I don't think his dragon even used a fire breath. Does the Chaos Dragon have a fire breath? I assume so. I think it's got a Chaos Bolt in his abilities. Chaos Knight's got 54 kills. I think that was against my own Ungol cavalry. 58 and 67 kills on the Hell Cannons. That just shows how nasty they are. I'm glad I dealt with those before they could deal more casualties. You might have seen during the battle, one of their shots hit my great swords, and it's just the middle of the unit is just obliterated. That's the problem with them. They don't, like, clip the edge of a unit. Because you can direct a shot, they can pretty much always hit in the middle of a unit and deal as much damage as possible. Unlike cannonballs, which knock out a few ranks, but overall don't deal too many casualties to the unit, because units tend to be rather thin on ranks. Because you want to spread them out. In the tabletop, you tend to play in box formations. At least my Skaven did. There would always be units of 20 in ranks of 5. So, I think in the later versions, people tended to play with larger squads of like 30 with 6 something. Made sense. But models are expensive. I don't really understand the Marauder Horse Masters. They're better than the Horsemen, but they're still not really that good. I haven't used them much myself. Oh, we got another rank. She's rank 20 now. 101. 2,100. Nah, forget it. Execute. Those 2 heroes going to join your army? No, they're not. Okay. Well, that's good. Maybe. If they were in the army, I would be able to kill the army and then get rid of the heroes. As it is, if I kill the army, the heroes are still going to be around, and I lack heroes to deal with them. Ooh. Gained a trait. I think Border Princes might be at war with the Dwarves. I think they just took back Matorka, or whatever it's called. The settlement down there. War declared. Naggarond and Clan Rictus. We haven't seen Clan Rictus. Oh, we have. Apparently, Mind Freak. Apparently, even Master Manipulator can be outsmarted. The Changer of Ways won't be too happy about this. Defeated Egrimm van Horstmann. Owning factions favored corruption. 1 plus 1 all characters faction wide. That's nice. All of our characters have an extra reduction to chaos corruption, or just to corruption. Regiment of Renown unlocked. Defenders of Alexandronov. Kreml Guard. Castle Alexandronov stands to the north of Erengrad and is constantly manned by the most fanatical defenders of Kislev. So it'd be over here somewhere. Executioner. Cut off an enemy's head and you kill the body too. So it is with leaders and their armies. Executed captives after battle multiple times. Enemy leadership -2 local province or local region, and public order -3 local enemy province. That's pretty good. So, Naggarond's over here, of course, Malekith, and Clan Rictus is here. They start in Hotek's column. We can't see them. I haven't scouted any of the ruins, because you know, if there's ruins here, then there's Skaven. There's not really much point. High Elves over here, Vol's Anvil. We see some of the High Elf units, and the General Sithara Belkek on her Great Eagle. They have Spearmen. All High Elves, both highborn and low, must defend Ulthuan to the last. These are militia, I believe. Lothern Sea Guards with shields. Unlike other levied citizen militias, the Lothern Sea Guard remain armed and ready at all times. They're a hybrid unit. They have a lower unit count than Spearmen. I think they are in units of 65 rather than 90, but they're armed with a spear, shield, and a bow, which makes them very versatile.
Incorruptible.
We have a handmaiden here, Mantressa. He is a ranged hero. Not mere courtiers, as the name suggests, but awe-inspiring warriors and envoys of the Everqueen, who is Alariel, who speaks with her authority in all matters. Alariel is the Everqueen leader of the Avalon faction here. He is over here. The Gaian Vale. Possibly. I mean, she might have moved from there. What else is going over here? Ag Hall, Temple of Adaoth, Ice Rock Gorge, Vol's Anvil. Plains of Spiders is Ruins. Red Desert is Nagarond. And I think there's another settlement there. It looks like there's a Tomb Kings faction which starts over here. The Exiles. And they're headed by I forget his name. It's a exiled Lich Priest. And they start over there. Sometimes they're able to hold on. Usually they end up getting destroyed because it's a very hostile location for them. I will get you. It's probably a good idea to get the Ice Pegasus, otherwise Egrimm would have been able to hunt her down in air rather than being surrounded by infantry. It's something I would like Warhammer 2 or Warhammer Total War to make a bit easier to do, is if you have a mount, you're not stuck on that mount. You're able to get your hero or lord dismounted or change their mount. If I go over to... who's on the horse? You are. If I go over to Zakar Parshin here, we'll see here he's on a mount, Warhorse. I can actually take him off the mount, if I wanted to do so, and put him back on foot. I kind of wish the game would make it a bit easier to do that. As it is, it takes a turn for them to mount up again, I think. Though I think they dismount instantly. The mounts act like an item, which makes sense, but there can be a bit of tactics to whether you have your character on a mount or not, because being on a mount makes him a large target. If you're up against a lot of spears or halberdiers, you might want them on foot, because it makes them less of a easy target against halberds. A minor thing, but be perhaps nice to be able to change that a bit more easily. Yep, we'll deal with the rest of this army. Being led by Azubhor. It's a pathetic army. They've lost all of their strength. We'll just execute them again. There we go. Oh, that's the end of Egrimm. I mean, he might respawn. I don't know how it works with them. We still have these heroes here. The history of many exalted heroes, recorded in scattered chronicles by the free people of the old world, is a catalogue of woe and evil deeds.
Asinine mortal.
Are you a god? Let's build... I'd like to build a Shrine of Ursun here. Just so that I can combat the corruption without having my general here. Isle of Wights. How much has that increased? 200. And if I build a weaving house, 250. Build the weaving house. All about that money. And I want you to have... Give him Frenzy. When did he get the Erskine? 16. Gets Shard Blade at 18. I'm going to give you, for this is Kislev, to increase your base units better. More. Hard to hit. And I need to replace the cavalry, I think, in your army. Yeah. To... What else? We've got Stoltzy. And we've got Crossbowmen. We've got Gospodar Spearmen and Gospodar Axemen. We get the Stalgrad Militia again, because we had those in this army. I would like some Joyaska. But they're expensive to get. 1,486. I don't get you. They take 3 turns to recruit too, so I'll get 2 of them and then I can recruit the other unit next turn.
What does the Emperor bid?
What are you missing out on? Petroyaska. You could do with some more infantry, actually.
Yes, my lord.
To the provinces?
Yes.
I'm going to...
strengthen the Empire.
No, Chaos Corruption's still high here.
Yes,
So I can't force march you. The corruption is going down dramatically.
I will marshal the men. Praise Sigmar. This will bolster the nation.
By the comet.
And... Dakar, we're not threatened by any other direction, are we? We're not at war with, Ostermark. The Vampire Counts are getting pushed back. Ostermark's actually pushing into, Vampire Count's faction. Schwarzhafen has been taken by Averland. The Moot is owned by the Dwarves. Ackendorf has taken Matorka back. And they are at war with the Dwarves. I don't foresee the Border Princes being around for much longer. Though they do own all their provinces. The Raxil has been raised. Karak Bufdar has been taken by Clan Angrund. Game and corruption is increasing in the area. This Game and Blight is in full swing, so they might have the oh, what is it called? The Great Horned Bell, the Great Horned Rat, which increases corruption in all neighboring provinces by 6 or something. Osmosis is 4, events 1. Okay. The Empire moved into Bretonnia. That's right, and they took Castle Carcassonne. And there's also the High Elves. The High Elves have taken Leonis, and they're currently attacking Langil. I'm all for the High Elves taking over Bretonnia. That would be quite funny. It's not something I've seen them do that much. I also drew Bretonnia into a war with the with Norska, so they might be sending armies to deal with the Norskans. If they can spare them. Hey Empire, how's it going?
Be at peace.
You don't want anything? Okay. Well, I hope you can deal with those marauding Chaos armies. Oh, the Black Pit's being sieged. Okay, so that might be where one of their the Chaos armies are. I haven't moved a Lord. Zakar Parshin. I'm gonna move you there.
The nation calls.
Okay. I'm actually going to use this. And I'll go down to... You can use this list to zoom to heroes around the map quickly. Yes, we've got Mikhail down here in Nehekara. You see the Pools of Despair are owned by the Lizardmen. They don't have the Black Tower of Arkan though. That's owned by the Rakath dynasty. Tetra's been doing a pretty good job. No, he doesn't have much of the Southern Badlands though. That's all owned by the Top Knots, Savage Orcs. Got part of Numas. Tomb Kings can build armies very easily because I believe their units cost no gold to recruit. However, they have limited amounts of unit. They have strict limits on their better units based on their buildings. They don't have much of an income either. So they have a very low gold generation. So they build slowly. But when they get their buildings, they can produce armies of powerful units pretty consistently. But as I've mentioned a few times, their early armies are basically all just skeletons and skeleton archers, which are massive armies of cheap expendable units with huge numbers of casualties. Tend to litter the Nehekara, which is good for vampires. Vampire counts factions, because you can just raise them all as a powerful undead, like Blood Knights and Terror. What are they called? Oh, I forget what they're called. The large undead bat-like things. Hmm. Yeah, what's the date today? 17th. I think actually some DLC which was released back in September for purchases of White Dwarf will become available for everyone on the 17th. I believe that's Great Britain time. So I'm ahead in Australia here. But perhaps a treaty? Yeah, sure. Marius Leekdorf here wants a treaty. See how consistent he is feeling. Marius Leekdorf is a bit mad. Yes, but there's a DLC which was released in September for people who bought the White Dwarf edition for September, featuring Gotrek and Felix, who are a duo of heroes from a book series done by the Black Library, the publishing arm of Workshop. I actually have one of the books. I have a Skaven Slayer on my shelf here, which is quite fun. Not very difficult, not a very long book, but yes, you had to have a code which came with the magazine, but then the DLC is being released, I believe, on the 17th of October for everyone. I believe you can just download it for free from Steam when it becomes available. It'd be nice. I think they act as... Gotrek acts as a lord, so you can have him leading an army. If you're playing as Bretonnia, something's wrong with the frame rate. Why is it so low? You feeling alright, computer? Gotrek is the lord for an army, and Felix is a hero which can join the army. But they only hang around for a few turns. The frame rate is really low. What is wrong with that? Excuse me a moment. Windows, are you doing something? What was that boop? Not downloading something. Like an update. No, it doesn't seem like it. I don't know why it's struggling so much. I haven't changed anything. Not too bad. Oh, well, frame rate's lower. Oh well.
You called?
No, I'm gonna check it. Can I do that? Pardon me for a moment. Try this. Okay, will that help? No? Oh, oh well.
Lady of the Azray.
This is odd. I've been having no problems the last few sessions. Really, but now it's just suddenly having frame rate issues with... It keeps dipping to 15. Oh well, something's happening. Right, well, explore over there, so there's nothing there.
The Empire.
You're recruiting those Droyaska still. I would like you to get also these. And you can get... What I want you to get. Water? Sure, a mortar.
So,
What I want you to get you a bird of Miska.
the bed.
Hey, Cracker Drac. Do you feel like doing
Let's
something?
hear what you have.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Hmm.
Ready.
You can't recruit anything.
Yes.
I was going to move you
It is for the best.
to meet up with them and give them some of your spearmen.
My Sigmar's right.
Or maybe your Kossars.
I will marshal the men.
No, your spearmen, because he's got enough ranged. The Kossars are half and half. Sorry, I keep making faces at OBS. We build paved roads here. Do I want paved roads in Kislev? I've already got them here, so I'm getting the income bonus. How many turns until you get 5? 7 until you get 3. Well, okay. You're all fine, I suppose.
What do you
Conquata, you've taken back that. There is some resources out there on the ocean I'd like to get. So travel to the Isle of Wight. Isle of Wights.
Blade at your service.
And go and get that shipwreck there. Some extra gold would be useful. Yep. Bit of the hero. Mikhail. I'll continue moving along the coast here. Xandri's taken by Tlaqua. Oh, Hike is Thegan's errantry still. Oh, Hike. Yep, well, the frame rate just righted itself. Don't know what that was from. I mean, during the... I'd expect the frame rate to be lower during the turn counter. Maybe because I'm not moving the camera? I don't know. Whatever. 'Tis a mystery. The ways in which technology perform is strange and mysterious. Have I performed my blessings to the Omnisire today? No. I need sacred unguents and chant the litany of supplication. Anything happening on the map? I hope the High Elves, as I've said, are successful in their venture. I'd actually like them to go to war with the Empire. That would be quite amusing, but I kind of feel that the Empire will leave their Bretonnian allies to fend for themselves rather than go to war with the High Elves as well. Oh, I don't know. They might dislike the High Elves fighting the Bretonnians enough that they will just go to war with them. Is the frame rate going to dip when it stops again? Yep, apparently so. Zoom in, will it be better? Ah. Okay, you just raised Langil. You didn't decide to, like, capture it or anything.
You need me? Anything is
Okay.
possible.
Go to the shipwreck. Good. Shrine to Ursun's been built. The corruption is going to be kept under control at 90%. Untainted, which is nice. I've only got one level to get on this building, so I'm going to build landed estate there. You're still recruiting the Droyaska.
By the comet. Who calls?
You
A sound plan. Step to it.
can move up again. So I want to just move you the rest of the way. Just move the rest of the way. Okay, and give him 3 units.
The Empire.
And then you can
Monster the nation.
travel across the sea to Erengrad. That way you will stop taking attrition. And we're being super sneaky. There we go. And then we'll be able to move up and take Saal encampment. Fort Ostrosk. What I like there. You've got livery. I would like to upgrade the armory. Upgrade to armory. Blacksmith. So that I can get better cavalry there. I'd also like to build the Shrine of Ursun. Temple of Ursun. Like I have in Kislev. All the shrines. Erengrad. I'll make a pottery maker. I think I'll sit on my gold for the moment. And I will utilize it in the future. Save up for something. No, I don't think... There was updates, but I don't think it fiddled with my recording. Eh. Fine, whatever. Sorry, I should stop fiddling with it. Let's go along here. Our hike is still taken by the
Protector of the realm.
Thegan's errantry, and there's also Knights of Origo over here. They have a unique legendary hero here, added by Mixu's mod. Donna Don Domingio. Donna Don Domingio. Donna Don Domingio, Paladin of the Knights of Origo, has been with the Order from the very beginning. He has survived countless battles and is still eager to bring righteous death in the lady's name. I feel that the Knights of Origo in the lore was actually known as the Knights of Oregano. I think that might have been changed. I have a vague recollection that that was what they were originally called in the lore. There's a lot of silliness in Warhammer. What's he got? Northern Fury. Knights of Origo only care for their own personal vengeance against the filthy heathens and won't stop until every heretic in the battlefield is finally defeated. Oh, okay. He goes through stages of rage until he gets to rampaging. Rampage is an ability some of the units have. It means you lose control of the unit and they just attack any enemies which are nearby them. I really like it. Other people don't because it takes control away from the unit from them, but I don't, as I've said before, I don't mind things like that. I feel it gives a unit a lot of personality. Right, okay. Yeah, the frame rate seems better now. Okay, whatever was the problem is better than what it was. Possibly. Still dipping a little. Maybe it's just an Oscar. Anyway.
To the provinces.
Praise Sigma.
Didn't I take a turn? Why are you still recruiting Droyaska?
Yes, my lord.
Whatever. Oh no. No, I moved you. Okay. And I moved you. Fine. Let's go from turn 99 to turn 100. Ugh. It's only taken 11 parts to get us to turn 100, but that's fine. We've been having to do a fair amount per turn. Defending our borders, building up provinces. I do also tend to play rather slow. Wow, kinda slow. But you know what? It's the right speed for me. I've certainly played enough of this game. I'm kind of afraid to show off how many hours I have in this game. It's kind of ridiculous. I would kind of like if Creative Assembly did a Warhammer 40,000 version.
Of the Empire.
It'd have to be rather different, but it is Festag. We should consider a treaty between us. Military access again? I don't know why you want that. It's so that you can beat up the Norskins, isn't it? No. They're my punching bag. You just sit down in the Empire there. You haven't been helping me all this time. Don't need your help now. Watch as I turn around on that statement when Chaos invades. I'm like, on the Empire, why don't they help me? Rite of Awakening by Tlaqua. Oh, the gods are angry. The omens are ill. Something you have done has angered the gods. Yet they are fickle. They may forgive you in time, or a more immediate appeasement might be necessary. You can have a tribute, public order +4, all provinces, minus 1,000 gold, or so be it, angry gods. Growth is +20 all provinces, but public order is -3. So be it. Sea legs. If you can keep your lunch down whilst everyone around you is losing theirs, then the Navy is the place for you. Spent multiple turns at sea. Campaign movement range plus 5%.
Lady of Athel Lauren,
Well, well done.
at your
We'll
service.
go get this shipwreck.
Making my way.
Carcass of a ship. What do we get? The Risen Isle. As you make your way across the sea, the ocean mists suddenly part to reveal an island which, by all accounts, is uncharted, even by the great map writer himself. High spars of rock jut from sea, like spikes in a trap that have ensnared some prey. Indeed, a wrecked ship lies impaled on the small island's coastline. Its crew seem to have moved into the interior, along with any valuables that may have been on board. We can explore the island and have defeat a foe in battle, and a great hoard of treasure may be received, or wait, and only a miserly hoard of treasure will be received. We'll explore the island and fight the battle. Well, and a floater, and some vampire coast units. I think we'll just auto-resolve it. Easy enough. We'll pardon the captives for the extra money. What do we get? Before you set foot upon the island, you are set upon by the vampire admiral who has arrived there just before you as bolstering forces. We've read that. We've got materials at sea, construction cost minus 30% for all buildings or regions, and income from all buildings plus 10% for all regions for 6 turns. And the Opal Amulet, which is a usability item. On 22 seconds, we get 22% damage resistance. That's kind of nice.
You need
I prefer ones which are constant, but, you know,
the forest has spoken.
take what you want. Take what you can get.
Proud daughter of Athel
I
Lauren.
will give you Arcane Conduit, yeah, so you can increase your winds of magic. I have a Dragonbane gem. I will give...
Ready.
Hey Boris, what do you have? Dragonbane gem. I'll give you the Opal Amulet. And I'll give you a Pit Fighter.
What?
Okay, let's move you up.
Praise Sigma.
There we go.
Was right
And you
to strengthen the
can
empire.
move up behind him.
Let us move. It is for the best.
Bayer Blades is still positive in public order because of all the tap houses. We're just keeping everyone drunk. The Silent Encampment does not have a good garrison. They have a Skinwolf Werekin, of course. Just basic troops there, so we can actually deal with that pretty easily. There's a Doomkeep there, being controlled by Morsleep's Howlers. Werekin there. Rakadrak's still not doing anything.
Yes, my lord.
You sail down to Erengrad. Ooh, Erengrad can go up a level. Anywhere else can? Prague's level 4, that can. Prague can. I'll upgrade Erengrad, because I want the in Erengrad port, which will generate 2,000 gold per turn. As opposed to 1,000 gold, as it currently is, which is still a lot for a port. But if we could hold Marienburg as well, that would be good. Marienburg has a port there like
Orders?
Erengrad. Oh, they actually have settled Langil now, the High Elves. They raised it and then they settled it. Okay, fine. Oh, and there's more High Elves on the way.
I will obey.
Tyrion's on his way.
Guardian of the
And
Phoenix Crown.
another High Elf Prince, Thaindor. Is it a prince? The Barda de Thilmar
Orders
Steed.
received.
Got Ogre Blade, Dragon Armor, Venarian, and Polarius Robe. They have a Noble and a Lawmaster of Hoeth. Okay, well, the High Elves look like they're committing quite heavily to this invasion of Bretonnia. I approve of this. It should be entertaining to watch.
Honor before glory.
Oh, they're taking Martek. Or do they start with Martek? I think they start with that. These are other dwarves here, Greybeard's Prospectors. They start there from the beginning of the game. And I can move you down. Ancient city of Quintax has been taken by the High Elves. So The Dark Elf faction, which starts here, has apparently been defeated. Yep. The Pleasure Cult, led by Marathi, starts there. Marathi is the mother of Malekith. They are possibly Chaos Worshippers? So they cause chaos corruption in their provinces. Huh? Oh, that's right. That's war declared. That's because of the Risen Isle. Because the armies spawned, they declare war, and then you fight them. War happens very fast. Okay, fine. Right. Can we do anything in Conquata or Albion? Eh. Toll gates. I want to increase money generation here. It is cheaper for me to build currently, so probably be a good idea to take advantage of that. And toll gates. How are the provinces built in Albion, actually? I want to see that. Okay, we can just see these thin lines. They could improve the border clarity for settlements. We can see Citadel of Lead is this bit up here. Albion is this. And the Isle of Wight is actually this island here, and a little bit of the coastline along here. Okay. I mean here, especially with the rivers, it gets rather confusing where the borders are. Oop, pardon me. Okay. Do you have any heroes to move? Nope. Okay, well. End turn 100. Lothern is confederated with the Order of Lawmasters. Or rather, the Order of Lawmasters is confederated with Lothern. The other way around. So, Tyrion and Teclis are now together in the same faction. It's appropriate. I approve. I like seeing all the lords end up under the one banner. For the most part. As long as it sort of makes sense. Tyrion and Teclis should be fighting next. It is funny though when you're playing as one or the other and you have diplomatic relations. Teclis, when you talk to him, is like, oh, it's you. Tyrion and Teclis are two High Elf twins. They are Tyrion, which we've seen, who is a very strong and competent fighter. And Teclis, who is a mage, and he is weaker and frail. I believe he has to drink potions to stay at least relatively healthy. Kind of like a Cameron and Riceland if you read Dragonlance. Except less of the loathing
I will not believe a
on
word
Riceland's
you say,
part.
but speak anyway.
Oh. More sleeves howlers. I am most important, biggest Skaven. You will hear me. Non-aggression pact. No. So we are enemies, foes? I see. Uh-oh.
Grave news, my lord. Word is spreading across the land of a dark power rising in the northern wastes. The armies of Chaos are on the move. They surely plan to invade the world of mortals once again. Prepare your defenses well, for the forces of Chaos spare no one in their quest for bloodshed.
Lovely! Rise of Chaos. Dire tidings from the north. The tendrils of chaos writhe and reach out from the accursed wastes, tainting the land and sowing dissent. Their corrupt forces wax ever stronger, and now their agents are abroad, spreading the foul corruption of their malign gods. On their heels come bands of marauding warriors led by the most zealous of the Chaos Lords, eager to wreak destruction in the name of the ruinous powers, and all the while, ever more warriors flock to some focal point in the Chaos Wastes, a nexus of power which transcends their petty rivalries and impels them to join with the numberless horde. Doom approaches, and it is only in strength that any hope may be found. The beginning of the invasion of chaos. How lovely. I was just about to start pushing into Norska. Ah!
Who calls?
Well, it kind of puts a bit of a kink in my plans.
I will marshal
I kind of just want to abandon Norska if that's happening. Because they're going to hit Volksgrad, and they're going to hit it pretty hard. We'll build tall walls in Prague.
To the provinces?
We're not massively far away, but I move you across the ocean. Yep. I'm just going to abandon our Norskan invasion at the moment. We can keep it relatively happy with Zakar here. I want you to charge over there. This is why I build all these roads everywhere. Right. Foster independence will give us more, what's it called? More protection from the heroes. You don't want a military alliance, even though we're trusted friends. Military alliance? You're at war with the Warriors of Chaos automatically. Even though it showed the Warriors of Chaos spawning here, there is actually multiple Chaos armies which spawned around the map. Some of them are here. I believe there's some of them, and they're about here. And there's another group which is down here, I believe. There might be scattered armies which appear also elsewhere. So they might come and attack Albion, but I think they're mostly focused on Nagaron. Or Ulthuan. Since I think they're about here. So Albion might be too far away for them.
What do you need?
I would like to bring Katarin back. Albion's generating 2,000 gold for us, however.
Can I offer assistance?
Also, Chaos heroes spawned throughout the map. So, we might see some in our territory. There would be like Chaos heroes scattered around to cause trouble everywhere. We might be able to see the Warriors of Chaos down here if I move Mikhail further down. Efler Gagni. Sword of the Ladies Champion. The knight who prays beside water before battle may see the lady's hand emerge, offering a perfect blade to her noble champion. He's got a royal Pegasus. Move you down. Also, because the Chaos invasion has started, Chaos rises. The corrupt forces of Chaos taint the land. Chaos corruption +1, all provinces. So, while we can counteract that by our research, which reduces Chaos corruption, it will still increase corruption as we see to 20% in our provinces. Ugh. I can further combat that by putting Foster Independence, which lowers Untainted by +1, as well as my heroes, but it's yeah, it's going to be a problem. Research. What research do we have? Get improved heavy weapons. Hey, the Empire. Bad things are happening in the north.
That is all I ever want.
We should join together to fight the battle to get... No? Okay, you're not interested. Osland.
By Sigma's will,
You're
come in peace.
Oh no. Usually everyone falls over themselves to try and give you agreements. Yeah, you're all the way down there. You're not going to be any. You're not going to be help. Iris Asatosa?
Shall we cut the deal?
No,
Or shall
you're not interested. You know, the Warriors of Chaos are technically Norskins. Or at least most of them are. Dwarves?
Welcome,
Oh.
friends.
Okay. The Chaos invasion hasn't actually begun, so people haven't really become... There's some changes which occur in diplomacy when the invasion of Chaos begins in earnest. Archaon the Ever-Chosen we see here. Aversion -60. War with Warriors of Chaos. Treaties with Krakadrak. He just hates us. It's a destroyer and repulsive. You can't reason with Chaos. You can't negotiate with this faction. They're at war with everyone. They're only interested in destruction. The same with the Cabal. It's very appropriate. There is no reasoning with Chaos. They bring only destruction. Oh, what is the quote from Mark of Chaos? There is no safety from the forces of chaos, it marks us all. That game was alright. This is much better. Mark of Chaos was a sort of a real-time strategy game. In the same vein as this to a degree. Except it was mostly just the battle maps, rather than having the campaign map. You didn't take over territory, it was a series of linear missions. But you did have large-ish armies fighting against each other. The tactics weren't as in-depth as they are in this. It is interesting in a way, because it has older models representing units. It has Skaven in it, so you have the older warp lightning cannon model instead of the newer one which Warhammer 2 uses. Doesn't have vampire counts though. It has some undead unit. What are the factions that are Skaven, Warriors of Chaos, Empire, I think, and can't remember the other faction. Was it the High Elves? Might have been the High Elves. And then there was an expansion which I never owned, which added the Greenskins and the Dark Elves, I believe. Oh, it was pretty fun from what I remember. I wish I could find my CD for it. It had a terrible issue though, where you had to split your attention between your army and your generals, because the generals did duels with each other. But focus on the general and you lost your army. Focused on the army and you lost the general, so it didn't really work too well, the mechanic they had for that.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. We're all going for a march over there. Grad's still getting upgraded. Fort Ostrosk, Volksgrad. let's... Do I have anything else which I could get which would help your situation? Not really. Get rid of the weaving hut. I'm just sort of fiddling around with stuff. Temple of Urson. Get rid of that weaving hut. The weaving huts do generate 250 gold, which is pretty good for a little investment, but they do, you know, it does mean you've got them and not something which is a bit more useful. That's deep water. Okay. You'd think it would be shallow because it's close to an island, but apparently not. Sea corpse up there. Could attack Trollfjord. Yonling's Gathering is up there. Black Ice Bay is down here. What is it? Iron. Hey, Katarine. If I move you to the Sea Corpse. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any armies, so I'm going to sail you up there. A bit closer. The Chaos Forces will be moving. They'll probably be around here. Hey, crack a track.
Honor to your ancestors.
No. Okay, fine. They have like 2 armies there. They have like 1 stack of 20 and a stack of like 6. They could be doing something. Sakarpashin. Get. How are things going here? 50%. Get fervent. Lower corruption by 1 extra point. That's good. Okay. I don't know whether I want you to move up to the Bay of Blades. If that gets taken, that will increase corruption there, probably. Also, it will cause combat instability, and we'll lose the tap room. And we'll lose 5 points of public order. There's 1 from the coastal village and 4 from the tap room. Oh, and I didn't move Mikhail. Oh well. He moves on his own. Sheik, we see army, battle locations. Oh, and I didn't use move Victor either. Do we see anything interesting down here? Fallen Gates is owned by well, what faction is that? Hexawaddle? I think it is. Led by Lord Mazdamundi, the 2nd generation Slan, I think he is. The Lizardmen are a very diverse faction. They're all spawns of these beings called Old One, which are like, I suppose the easiest way to call it is possibly alien progenitors, who existed in the Warhammer world really early on, created a whole bunch of the factions, or a whole bunch of the races, as experiments, also to combat chaos. And then they all up and were left, and the Lizardmen were given orders to fight against chaos, and that's what they were created for. And they do that, and they're very single-minded in that. Lizards, they're very logical thinking. And the lizardmen are actually split up into like 4 different types. There's skinks, which are small, fast-moving, probably the most intelligent aside from Slan. They make up the vast majority of the population. They do a lot of the crafting, a lot of the running of society and all that. Then you have the Saurus, which are large lizards, which exist for combat. And they're not really good at thinking that much, so they're pretty much just for fighting. Then there's Croxigor, which are large, in this look like large alligators. They're like the size of a troll. Which are also used for combat, but also used for construction. I believe they haul heavy weights around. They work with the skinks quite closely. And then you have the Slan, which is a Slan here. They are large toad-like beings who are extremely powerful mages. They are slow to act. They're slow to move. They move around on floating thrones. And they spend most of their time completely passive, just thinking and contemplating the future and the great plan as it was possibly laid out by the Old Ones. Oh, we have Afwub here, the Beastman army, which is made up... We see some Gauls! We haven't seen Gauls yet, I don't think. With a weapon in each hand, these Gauls lunge and slash at anything before them with predictably wild abandon. We have Ungor herds, Chaos Warhounds. Doesn't look like too much of a threat. What's their army got in it, actually? Gore herds with shields, Ungors with shields, and Spearman herd, Ungor raiders, single unit of ranged. 3 Chaos Warhounds and their general. That is pretty pathetic, honestly. The Gauls are nasty, but the Ungors are laughable, really. And they will have to build up siege weapons to be able to attack me. They've only got 18 in the army too, it's not even a full stack. Build that there. We still have the materials at sea. I want you to Fort Ostrosk. How's your corruption going? It will be up to 8. That's manageable. Is anyone coming to Albion? Can't see any armies.
Highborn. Your orders are accepted.
Go to that Sea Leviathan corpse. May have defeated defeat a foe in battle. Okay, it's another weak army. We'll just auto-resolve that. Hardened captives. Good sea captain. This one knows far more than just larboard and starboard. Achieved victory in multiple naval battles. Leadership +2 in fighting at sea. Leviathan services. You loot the galleons before sailing onto the Leviathan's remains, where your crew were able to cut open its belly and extract further wealth and treasures. You got Van Horstmann's Speculum. Van Horstmann's small magical mirror has the ability to destroy the enemy, if only they will look upon its cracked surface. For 16 seconds around self, it affects enemies in range. Minus 26 melee attack, minus 27 melee damage, and minus 25% weapon damage. And 6,000 gold. That was a pretty good find.
Lady of the Azrael.
I will give you... I will give you... Lawmaster, Law of Ice Magic. And I'll have you dock there to get replenishment back. And we can use this gold, which we got to Upgrade Prague. Great Shrine of Ursun is possible to upgrade. We could get it up to level 5. However, that will only unlock one slot. I don't think we'll get access to all of the slots. Because it's not in a province which we can make full use of. The game's a little unclear on how that works. It's sort of just... I don't really know the exact reasons for it. At least I kind of feel like it's a bit unclear. Build a Wizard's Enclave there too. I would like some more spellcasting. It's about high time we got some more. Hey, the Empire. No, you don't want to help. Okay, it looks like you've dealt with the Cabal. You still at war with them?
Be at peace, for that is all I ever want.
The Cabal still exists, so apparently they're still around. Can we see anything else here? Exoodal is the capital of Mazdamundi, though we can't see him at the moment. Stellar Pyramids of the Southern Skies. This is another unique capital added by the mod. You see, it's a very resplendent looking city. These massive floating pyramids and all these weird spinny circles and so on. I think we've actually moved you. Yeah, we have moved you. There's Port Reaver there. All this is actually owned by Exoodal as well. Port Reaver is usually owned by an Empire faction. You see, it's an Empire settlement. Because the Empire at some time sent explorers to Lustria to explore and raid it for resources. There's also Swamp Town here, which is also owned by Exoodal. I think this is a New World Colonies or something like that. I believe they're expanded in the Kataf's Tylia Estalia Border Princess mod. They have I think 2 legendary lords which you can get. I forget what the faction lord's name. One of them is like Marcus Polo or something like that. And I forget what the other one is called. They have like mercenary units and empire units and so on. Sorcerer's Island is held by Bretonnia. Okay. I didn't move Victor. Oh geez, what is this? I forgot to move my armies. He's probably going to suffer a terrible fate. Die. He didn't move his full distance. Perhaps he can retreat. If he can retreat towards Prague, he won't die. But maybe they won't attack because that will put them in a disadvantageous position. My other armies are right nearby. Or maybe they just won't care.
Darkness follows in your wake. You are far from welcome here.
Oh, hello, Arkan. My wealth and power know no bounds, and I am generous to those who treat me with the respect I deserve. It's Arkan the Black. He's a first servant of Nagash, a long dead necromancer lord. Wants military access. Why? Why do you want military access? What could you possibly gain from getting military access with me? You're all the way in the south. You're also interested in a military alliance. You're at war with Bretonnia, Cambry, Grabius Prospectors, and the Chaos factions as well. This may seem a bit confusing, but the undead factions in Warhammer, for the most part, are vehemently against chaos. Nagash himself started researching undeath and necromancy, not just to prolong his own life, but to also try and find a way to prevent chaos from taking over the world. The basic idea of it, from what I understand, is that by making everyone into zombies, or making everyone into undead, they deny chaos the worship the gods require, because they can essentially control everyone to be mindless automatons, and therefore the chaos gods would just wither and disappear because there's no one to believe in them, and the chaos gods kind of work off belief. They need worshippers to be able to work. So by having everyone in the world turned into undead, chaos would no longer be a problem. So the vampire counts also are against chaos, at least lore-wise. Though they can ally with chaos, I think Manfred can ally with chaos. Kind of because his ambitions is to take over the Empire, he's sort of forgotten about chaos. Well, not forgotten, but I think Vlad von Carstein is more focused on destroying chaos because he's a bit more far-reaching in mind than Manfred, who perhaps not thinking on the more important matters. Like, you know, yes, the more important matters like killing everyone. Sure, a military alliance, why not? What's the problem? Non-aggression pact. My wealth and power. Sure, whatever. A well-made offer is pleasing to the ears of men and God. Though Ark in the Black also despises current undead, as you may have seen there in his list. Because the Tomb Kings, for the most part, aside from Ark and the Black, and possibly a few other Tomb Kings who followed Nagash closely in life, hate Nagash for cursing them all with undeath. As you'd think, people were rather upset that they were all suddenly raised back up and they weren't actually in the afterlife. They were undead, so they're not very happy about that, understandably. Cetra the Imperishable is particularly upset about Ark and the Black about that. I think they might have had a rivalry when they were alive. Maybe. Or maybe Cetra just hates him because he's dared to bring Cetra back before Cetra said that he should be brought back. Or something like that. Anyway. Why Wolf with the Wolf Claw? Doing hostile assault garrison, and he failed. Okay. Horde of Chaos, are you going to attack my army? You are. Oh, and I can't retreat. Oh, you're attacking Volksgrad. With both armies. Welp. What's the settlement look like? Arthwolf has a hero in his army now. Weeb Blackheart. That's a Wargore that's added by the mod for expanded faction beastmen. Wargores form the lesser chieftains of the Brayherds, leading the various tribes within and serving their bestial lords as lieutenants. I think Volksgrad is kind of doomed. I didn't get there fast enough. And I don't think I can fight this off. So I'm going to auto-resolve it. I could perhaps have done it if I had moved my army there in time, but oh well. We actually have a strong position here, not even in Prague, because there's a river which runs right outside Prague, and we can position our forces around the crossing. They didn't actually attack him. That's also going to increase chaos corruption. Yep. Events 101 chaos corruption. Because they raised a gold. But the beastmen raised it and they erected the thingy. Oh, there's only one army there? There was two before. Is one of them like ambushing? Okay. Well, they took casualties from that, so you go there. Diego Boyarin, go to that bridge.
To the provinces.
We're going to hold here.
This will bolster the nation.
The Empire.
Boris, I want you to go over here.
Onwards.
Gonna all be within range.
What does
Actually,
the
I kind of
Emperor
want you to perhaps step a little bit back from the river. Because I believe if they're close enough
Sigmar.
to the river, they can attack them, like, across the river. Because there's like a circle around them where they have to be close enough to be able to engage them, even though you can't see it. And the river I don't think is wide enough to deny that all the time. So they could say, oh, I can attack a small army. And that might bypass the crossing. I don't know how big the circle around the crossing is to actually get the
Ready.
river crossing battle. You moved a bit too far to engage. An ambush, but I don't think you get reinforcements for that. Aragrod's, one more turn. Prague. How long are we going? Yeah, that's fine. Karak Ungol. I haven't done anything with you for ages. You could upgrade. Azid Urkalaz. Are any Chaos armies going to appear in the mountains here? Don't think so. Yeah, it's fine. Prague has tall walls. I would like reinforced walls. Clockwork bombs.
Lady of Athel Lauren. Proud
You can go
daughter
in
of
there.
Athel Lauren.
You continue to move down, exploring Maku Peaks. All this is controlled by Exoidal. Monument of the Moon is controlled by Defenders of the Great Plan. That is a new faction, which I haven't actually seen in game yet. That is... I think it's the lead... It's the army Nakai the... It's the faction Nakai the Wanderer is deferent to. Instead of taking settlements for their own, Nakai the Wanderer, whose army is a horde, gift settlements they take to their current faction. A lot of people are going to hate me for getting this agreement with Ark in the Black, but
King of Nehekara,
here he is.
servant of Nagash.
I like playing as Ark in the Black. Nagash must rise, or our realms of silence will fall. He's quite a good character. He's a powerful... He's a spellcaster with the Law of Death. He's also mounted on a chariot, or he can become mounted on a chariot. He also has the Liber Mortis, which gets 3 charges of it per battle, and it gives +8 leadership and plus 44% physical resistance in a bubble around units. He also has a Staff of Nagash unique item, which increases Winds of Magic. Uses it. Cracker Drac, do you want to do something?
That
No.
we do for you.
Okay, fine. Hey, Beastman, are you going to attack me at this crossing? If so, I might be able to end the session on that battle. I think I've said before, I'd like if Prague had a unique model for its city. Because I remember in Warhammer Online, one of the maps actually took place within Prague. And Prague itself, I believe, has a map laying out the entire city. Having a unique building or two in Prague would be nice as well. I think it's got like... I'm pretty sure it's got strong walls because of the frequency it gets sieged by chaos. It's also got some horrific walls because it was sieged by chaos in the past. Where I think the souls of the defenders got absorbed into the wall, and the wall now has their faces contorted in terror and screaming constantly. Which must be terrible to live by. I think they've tried to destroy the wall and rebuild it, but the faces just have appeared in the wall again. The Warhammer world is such a terrible place to live in so many regards. I have to put up with so much crap. What would be the least sucky place to live? I don't know. The Mootland would be pretty good. You get all the pasties you can eat. You just have the threat of being invaded by vampires. Being invaded by the Empire. But on the whole, I think they're kind of left alone for the most part. They're not really... Nobody really considers them worth the effort. Which is probably the kindest thing you could say about them. Yeah, look, they're attacking Victor. But he's the weakest army, but it draws all my other armies into battle. They didn't get a ambush attack off, which is nice. Are we defending at the crossing? See that army, it just sort of moved right across the crossing and attacked him. He's not anywhere near the river, but they can just... no, it's not a crossing. How lovely. Sometimes the way the game determines these things is an enigma. I was holding a crossing, and yet the army just moved across it, or moved around and attacked one of the other armies. I don't know how they were able to do that. Who knows? 'Tis a mystery. It was a lot easier in Medieval 2 Total War, because the armies were stuck on a grid. And so if you held the edge of the bridge, which was in a specific like square on the campaign map, armies would have to go through your army. Also, you had definite area of control, zone of control. It was all the squares around the army. In this, the zone of control is a circle, which at times feels very ephemeral. Armies don't tend to move through the zone of control, or rather they can't. So you can't really capture armies with your zone of control to stop them from moving. The only way you can do that is if you ambush, and a lot of armies aren't really good at ambushing. The beastmen are good at ambushing. But as I said, I think the problem is that if you tell your army to attack another army, which is in another enemy army's zone of control, the attacking army ignores the zones of control to move to attack the army which you told them to attack. Even if that army is behind the army with the zone of control in front of them. I'm probably not making much sense, but I don't think they respect, like, multiple zones of control terribly well. Oh, and my reinforcements are over here. Okay. Kossars. You go there. You go there. We've got beastmen coming that way. Beastmen will be over here. I think you're kind of doomed. You're going to get swamped by so many beastmen. Well, from there they're going to come that way. This army is probably going to turn around and attack them. That's your saving grace. Actually, I'm going to do something else. Do that. Do that. Do that.
The Empire endures.
Do this.
Handgunners.
Handgunners or Streltsy. Form up in close
We are
ranks.
ready. By Ulrich's wrath.
That's how you're going to stand. Cossars are pretty good in melee.
Ready to engage.
It is only beastmen, and they're not very good beastmen armies, so
I'll ready the men.
we should have a bit of an advantage here.
Shalia protect.
Let's have a look at them. We have beastmen flavored warhounds. Here's the Gauls. You can see they're bigger and more muscular than Ungauls. Also, bigger horns and shields and axes. Ungauls are quite scrawny in regards and compared. We have the Lord, I think? Yeah, the Beast Lord, Afwub. We also have the Wargore here, the Chieftain, who is actually armored better than the General. Though he is smaller. Yeah, it's a fine collection of hands on his belt. There's another general over there. I'm kind of worried about their generals. My experience in the past, their beastmen generals deal a lot of damage. Both of their armies are actually all the way over there. Okay, so I'll be able to move my armies over to here, hopefully. In time to reinforce. Though the beastmen armies move faster than mine, pretty sure, so... Actually, don't do that.
Shalia protects us. Engage. Handgunners.
Because we have a nice hill here.
Lingering. Spearmen.
Okay.
Go. Sigmar calls. By Ulrich's wrath. Go. Swordsman.
Joryaska?
Moving now.
Joryaska will be good in this battle. They'll be able to carve through the beastmen with no problem. Your cavalry.
Go.
Over there.
To battle.
You can form on that flank.
Formation march.
I'm actually going to position my spears a bit differently. You go like that. You go like that. And you three go like... Okay. And all these Streltsy go across the hilltop like this. There. Crossbows across the top like that. Mortars there. We have these Gospodar Axemen. You can form up behind there. Joryaska. You can form up behind them. Dalsgrad Militia. I'm actually going to have you go behind the artillery. Because you are unbreakable. Cavalry, form up over there. You, Yegor Boyarin, you are on a mount, so you'll go there. Alexei Wojciev, you go there. Boris, you go there. And
We are ready.
I will get you in group 3. And the rest of this army, after I organize it a bit, I want all the units grouped together. Wish there was a way to move them multiple at a time. I'm pretty sure you can't. Let me see. No, you can't. As far as I know. There, you go there. You go there. And you go there. Okay. Oh, and Boris can go in front of the hero.
Weapons are yours. Detachments
There we go.
ready.
On ground. Do I want to move my other army over? Yes. We're going to give up that hill, but I'm going to combine my armies. I don't think they can get from there to there in time. Okay. Dropsy, actually. You go like that.
Battle!
You lot
Sigmar's heirs.
go on an angle like that.
Quick march. Take
Like
the
that.
ground.
Like that. And that.
Taking
It's a good idea to put your ranged units on an angle. That way they're what's it called? Their zones of
Sigmar guide.
fire spread out a bit. Also, if you make them into wider units, they have a wider firing arc. Okay. Here come warhounds. Pow!
Sigmar commands. Soldiers of the Empire.
Okay. Goreherds don't have
Let's hold.
shields.
Taking
Some of them
position
do, but
for Heldenhammer. Formation.
uncovered hidden foes. No. Let's have a look. How are things going? Do you have any abilities? You might be able to duel. You might be able to wield. Duel some of the enemy heroes. Because you have this opal amulet I found. So they do deal a lot of damage in melee. Beastmen charging against the spearmen. We haven't really had to fight beastmen as much as you'd expect. Brave Kislevites standing against the beastmen herds. Our army over here is moving into position. Maybe I can deter them from charging me with my cavalry. If I move them around the flanks here.
No lingering. The Empire endures.
You're holding? Good. Yep. We're in position to meet their charge.
Steady, man.
Troyaska, charge in.
Sigmar.
You'll just get shot if I don't. Oh, there's some Centaurs there. Let's have a look at them. Here's Centaurs. They're centaurs, but they don't have hooves. They have clawed feet. And they're very drunk. They go into battle drunk. That means they have perfect vigor. As long as they're winning. I rather like them. I don't think they're the best. They're considered that good in
We are Sigmar's heirs.
multiplayer, but I really like
Quickly. Spot us the target. Fire! Fire!
I really like Centaurs because you can just charge them around all the time, and they're pretty fast too.
State troops ready.
Hey, you broke them! Well done.
Loaded, sir. Reynolds, aim. We're ready.
Pow! Are we on a hill here? Kind
I
of.
hope the battle wizards have a few spells up their backs. What do you
We don't have any battle wizards, so your hope is in vain.
Our weapons are yours.
Shoot those Centaurs.
Friends.
Yeah. Just look at them die.
Awaiting orders.
Shooting gallery.
Awaiting orders.
Move up, spears.
Formation, march.
Actually,
Quick march.
do this. Put the spears there.
Sir,
Cossars like this.
to battle for the twin-tailed
You
comet.
move
Quick
there.
march.
We are going to shoot them in the flank.
Yes, my lord. What do you bid?
Deal with off whoop.
Hands.
We are. You will not succeed.
By Ulrich's mark.
We are Kislev.
At
Gospodar Axemen move over there, reinforce.
Spotter's the target! Sigmar guides us! Quick march! Go! Standing by!
Look at the beastmen flee! Ha! They think they can deal with us. Show them the folly of their ways. Look at how they all run at once. So many of them. We won't have enough ammunition to deal with all of them.
Ready for war!
There was a lot of them, but they were really lacking in heavy hitters.
Yes, sir!
Beastmen need, like, some of their tougher units. Minotaurs, mostly. Ungors just don't really cut it. They don't have enough morale. Even Gors. Gors are good, but as I said, you need, like, Minotaurs to really be able to break through enemies' lines, otherwise they sort of just push against them and, oh, you can see they just die. They were cutting through my guys. We took casualties. Lowest one is 27 here. Goyaska took some casualties as well, so they do hurt, but without, like, Minotaurs, what else is there? Bestigors, Armored Gors, Spellcasters would have helped. Cygors. Maybe some Chaos Spawn? Minotaurs mostly. Minotaurs are nasty. Those things just slice through infantry. And they're angry. Well, they bowl through infantry. They have an animation where they just roll through the enemy. There we go.
Yes, General!
Shoot any others you see. Good, good. Well, we're gonna have fun with this battle. And it will be naught but a warm-up for the Chaos Witches to ensure when Chaos comes to attack us. Oh, 11 losses on Victor's army. 230 and 206 on the other one. We cut the other two armies nearly in half. Well, one of them in half, the other one not as much. But we were close to the border, so they all ran across the battle map edge before we were able to kill too many of them. Having only 371 remaining in one of their armies. It's pretty good though. Oh, and we killed their general and their hero. Apparently. That's nice. Streltsy also proving their worth by killing huge amounts. 49, 59 and 79. You had only killed one more each. You would have had nice round numbers. Oh. I would like some more powerful artillery. A mortar is good, especially against infantry, but I would like a what's it called? Norska has no, not Norska. Kislev has a organ cannon, which is a it's the organ gun from the dwarves, which would be very nice to have. They also have the Karak cannon, which would also be nice to have. Mortars are good though. I mean, it depends. Mortars are better at firing into blobs of infantry near your front line, because they can shoot over your units and not necessarily hit them. Urigan cannons, because their trajectory is much straighter. If you shoot near your infantry, they tend to get hit. Has anyone who's played Empire Total War or Napoleon Total War had to find out the hard way? Putting your infantry in front of your cannons is not a good idea. It's kind of true in Warhammer. But the cannons do have higher arc to the shot when they fire in Warhammer, so you tend to be able to get the shots to arc over your front line. Much better than in Empire and Napoleon, where cannons fire pretty much straight forward, and if there's infantry in front of them, those infantry are going to get shot across the map along with the cannonballs. A good idea not to put your general anywhere near your artillery in a Empire or Napoleon. Even away from missile fire, like from your line infantry, because stray bullets playing a match and oh, your general's dead. What happened to him? He copped a bullet, but he was nowhere near the enemy. Well, one just went over the hill. Pretty sure that's happened to me. How many kills did one of their units get? 29 on their hero. 27 on their general. We didn't do too many casualties to this army. We did alright. We killed all those centaurs. You got level. Execute. We have no patience for Hordes of Chaos. We haven't seen the rest of the armies yet. Oh, are they coming now? Puppets to Chaos, servants to Chaos. Faction destroyed Charon car. Oh, garrison success. Ambusher discovered Da. Oh, we got a seed of rebirth. Eating a small seed from this small troll skin leather pouch will imbue the consumer with regenerative abilities. I can give one of my generals regeneration. And a Kislevite Kossar. Enemy killed in battle. Weeb, my card, and Afwub. Oh. We could hunt these down and destroy those armies. But I think I'll leave all that for next time. Even placing the skills. I'll think of that. Like there'll be much thinking to do, but I'll leave it all to do for next time. The great invasion of chaos has begun. Not the great invasion yet. It's working up to that. This is just a preliminary invasion. Happened around turn 103. I believe when chaos invades is related to how many provinces you have. Or how strong as a faction you are. Like, if you're weaker, the invasion of chaos will be held off, though it will eventually occur. But I think there's a variation of between like turn 80 and turn 150 or something like that. So, anyway, I will leave it there for tonight. I will thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you'll join me again next time for Warhammer 2 Total War. I will stop the recording here.